Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. Thanks for joining us for another video. Now, we was having a bit of a light-hearted chat, a bit of humour this morning, that there seems to be more suits inside Manchester United than football boots, based on last night's report that Christopher Vivell is set to join as Director of Recruitment this summer.
Well, all I can say is I'm sleeping well. We're getting all the suits in, not a lot of football boots like we've been talking about, but I'm positive, and I think everyone out there should be positive. Fans, as far as I'm concerned, shouldn't worry. Yes, there'll be a few hiccups down the way in 12 months' time, 18 months' time. That's bound to happen. But we're getting more people in. And if you look back over the last 10 years to what's happened in the last 6 months, that's why I'm positive, and that's why I'm sleeping well, because we're getting the people in. More people in than I ever expected, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just like to thank Andy B, Just My Opinion, and Ines Fouché, members of our membership. Thanks for joining us, getting involved today.
Thank you.
Now, what do you think his actual role will actually be then? The Director of Recruitment, it seems to be that he's only going to be here on a short-term basis as well for the summer at the start. So is it helping then just with getting players out, bringing players in?
Well, I look at who's brought him in. Barada's brought him in, and what Barada used to do at Manchester City was... he was part of the multi-club model. That's what he was involved with at City. And he has the same experience, Vivell, as doing involvement with this. So it might not end up as short-term. I think they might just be bringing him in to help with the overload of transfers. And when I say overload, the overload is those going out. I think that the people have already been dealing and looking at the bringing people in. I think it's getting people out. I think he might be brought in for the short term to deal with that. But Barada, I think, has brought him in because he has dealt with multi-club ownerships when he was at Manchester City, and this Vivell has experience of that. So you never know. This might continue. If he does a good job in getting people out, because that's one of the main things what's needed here at Old Trafford, and he looks as though he's going to have that role. I don't think he'll have too much of a role, that's my opinion, bringing people in. I think they've already earmarked what we need, and I think the eyes are on it, and the work's being done on that.
Yeah, has previously worked at Leipzig and Chelsea as well, where he's a technical director, I think, from 2022 to 23. And he's only young as well, 37 years old, so might bring some fresh ideas into Manchester United for the short term at least. Might have a little bit of a database on what players are out there as well to add in to the already sporting structure here, what they're trying to build.
Well, I think he might have a database, and I expect him to have a database, that his experience is there. And I think Barada has highlighted it and brought this this young lad in, really, because that's all he is. He's a young lad, brought him in to do a job and thinks he can get on with it pretty quickly. And if he settles down and does the job proper, you just never know. He might be here for the long term.
Yeah. Hopefully working with Dan Ashworth as well. That news yesterday, what we discussed, that is actually, well, it started at Manchester United. All reports said it was an immediate start.
Yeah, well, immediate start. That's what you want. Will he work with Dan Ashworth? I expect him to work with Dan Ashworth and all the team. I think what you will see here is a collective. All those what have come in will sit down together on a regular basis and work out what's going on. Because if you look, and I did say before, if you look at what's gone on over the last 10 years, this is big change. And if you look what's coming, there is more change to come. You've just had now Erik ten Hag, his contract is being discussed. He's now going to be the manager for the long term, not the short term, 12 months. He's going to be given a long-term contract. And then if you look around at what's happened at United, the talk of like the ground, maybe refurbish it, maybe a new ground, many other things are going to be discussed. So there's a lot of work, and I think everyone's going to be sat down together, and he, at the moment, short term, will be part of that.
So are you expecting any more suits to come in before the summer's finished, or can we start sort of concentrating as fans to see if Man United can start getting deals done and bringing them football boots now into the club?
I think we're all expecting deals to be done. It's just whether they can get them over the line, and it's all about money. Will things stay the same? Is there enough suits already in here? Will more come in? I think if you go forward a year, I think what you'll see people coming in and out of the roles, new people coming in, because some people might not be up to it. They might not do what's needed. There might be people inside Old Trafford who they've got their eye on and sort of saying, right, well, you carry on in this role. Let's see where you are. And then in 12 months' time, it just might change. And really, to be honest with you, a successful business does bring in new blood on a regular basis to keep people on the toes. So I do expect change. A continuation of change will go on. And I think it'll be not just in the boardroom. I think it'll go on right throughout the club. And that's what you want. You can't stay stale. And unfortunately, Manchester United have, if you look at the boardroom, if you look at people inside there, what they've done, they've just kept moving people about, kept them in there who are not really perfect for the job, what they've been put in.
You said you've been sleeping very well.
Yes.
So have you been having dreams of maybe putting your suit on, knocking on Ratcliffe's door, seeing if you can get a job?
No, well, it seems as though, like, if anyone puts a suit on, they can knock on the door and go and get a job. But, you know, I'm not going that high in my expectations of where I stand as a Manchester United fan. No, I've been sleeping well. And that's all because of the positivity. Yes, things will go wrong. But the thing is, there is massive change and I'm sleeping well. So I'm not dreaming. I'm not having nightmares about this, that and the other. Yes, I'm concerned at the moment, right now, like many fans out there, and I've seen all the comments and that, right, that no one's coming in, that it's just discussions and that. And it is a bit of a concern, and we'll always have concerns. We're football fans. Nothing's as rosy for 12 months, not in any football club, but it is a concern. But, you know, they're here and they'll get down to it.
Yeah, it does seem like there is movement, though. Like you say, yeah, there's nothing like official bids gone in apart from that Branthwaite one. It's still... Well, it still remains to be seen if they go back in with a second bid to Everton. But I am quietly confident we will get some transfer business done this summer. It's just a case of every single year gone by, will we get the deadwood out of Manchester United? Because I'm sure if we do, you know, you'd like to think as a fan that that money will be reinvested back into the squad. So for me, you know, you're not going out there just getting one centre-half. We could possibly then get two if we can shift some of this deadwood out.
Yeah, but there's concerns out there and genuine concerns by fans about like the transfers and that. And if you look just at Amrabat, for instance, you know, he's here. Right, FA Cup final, that was it. He's not involved anywhere. Okay, right. Why hasn't that been sorted out? You know, and maybe now because Erik ten Hag is in their contract talks, it could get sorted out. 20 million, I think it's euros they're asking for him. Do they need him? And when you look at it, you know, the other concern, and it's a major concern for me and a player I like, is Wan-Bissaka. You know, that's 12 months of a contract he's going into now. And I say to myself, that man at one time, pundits were calling him the best right back in the country. As a full-back, yes, he has deficiencies, we know that. But as a full-back and tackling and everything else
one-on-one, he's one of the best.
One-on-one is one of the best. And to have 12 months of a contract left, going into like the pre-season, which is coming up pretty soon in a couple of weeks starts, he should be sorted out. So that is a concern. So there's just two.
But also at the same time, I think we've discussed it many times in the past, and a lot of people on the channel as well. We knew we had to be patient though this summer for Manchester United to get the right people and in the right places to make the actual right footballing decisions, because that's something we've not had for a very long time at Manchester United. So it looks like now they have got the right people in. So hopefully these decisions start getting made and they start chatting with each other and we start seeing some movement in the transfer market.
I think it's very hard, right, as a football fan, right, to be patient, right? So don't be getting me at it, right?
It's just like you said you were sleeping well before.
I am sleeping well, so don't be turning me mind. So I have disturbed nights. No, it is difficult to be patient. I know that, right? But it's all positive if you look at the big picture. You know, you just look at Nistelrooy, Hacker coming in. Okay, what does that say? Well, they're in. They're going to be starting the job soon. That's positive. And then you look at Van der Gaag, you look at McLaren. Are they going to leave? Are they staying? You know, and if they stay, they stay. That's more positive. There's no sign of them actually going. It's like Are they going? It's a question, and we don't know. So they might be staying, and if they stay, that's more positive around. You know what I mean? So you look at talks of, for instance, McTominay. There's been plenty of talk for 12 months about McTominay. There's talk about Eriksen. Will they go? So things like that have to be sorted out. But that's the day-to-day normal procedure. What goes on in a football club?
Yeah.
We are in the transfer period, and these players might go out and players might come in. And at the end of the day, the long-running saga since the FA Cup final, to me, is. I wouldn't say worrying, but it has to be cleared up. But I don't think it'll be getting cleared up for a while. And it's Casemiro. Casemiro's away, and he won't be coming back for a while. So that saga will carry on. But it's nothing to worry about when you talk about McTominay, Eriksen, Casemiro, Wan-Bissaka, even Johnny Evans. These things will get sorted out. So I don't see any worries here. I think United will be active in the transfer market, right? And then all these worries, I say worries, all these situations will get sorted out. It's just so much has happened in the last 6 months. It's like a train just going down there and picking up speed. It's unbelievable, really, what has happened when you see the change over the last 10 years. Not really that much has happened. And then suddenly in 6 months, it's all happening, but it's good. And there's positive vibes from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, but there's also doubt and worry also included in that, which is what happens. That's what United fans do. It's what football fans do. When you see an announcement, you do sort of like worry, is that the right thing and that? But going forward, everything, as far as I'm concerned, is positive. And this Vivell coming in now, I think he is he's in there to push things along quickly. And I think they'll look at it down the line and say, hey, do we really want this kid for the long term? And they'll make a decision then. And whatever decision they make, we'll just accept, you know what I mean? We accept it as the right decision.
Yeah, you mentioned Casemiro. Forgotten man as well is Donny van der Beek.
It's not forgotten in my brain. Don't keep me awake anymore. I know that, right? But Donny van der Beek, there's a situation. But he has to go. You
wouldn't be too worried though if the players like Donny, and others who, in your own opinion, should leave Manchester United this summer, actually travelled on the tour this month and actually played some games. Is it a matter of trying to get some of these in the shop window, keep their fitness levels up so clubs are ready to buy them as well?
I'm not too sure.
Or would you prefer to blood some of the youngsters through who you're excited about?
I think the way this summer tour is going to go, I think it should all be the youngsters. All the players I've mentioned, including Johnny Evans and that, I wouldn't mind not seeing them on the summer tour if they're going to get rid of him. I don't think they should be in the shop window. The shop window's closed. Everyone knows everything about Johnny Evans, McTominay, Eriksen.
Well, it's about with Johnny Evans, if he's going to sign a new deal or not. Obviously, his deal's run out, but like you say, we're still waiting on some news whether he's going to sign a new short-term deal or not.
Yeah, but what
is that going to be based on? How many centre-halves we get in this summer? I think it's going to be.
This is the thing with Johnny Evans. I spoke about Johnny Evans a few weeks ago. What the concern with Johnny Evans is, and they're still talking, and they're not too sure whether to keep him, is really based on the centre-halves. What we can bring in. If we bring in centre-halves, then there's no need for Johnny Evans. So the worrying sign going forward is if Johnny Evans is actually signed on another 1-year contract. It sort of tells you how the conversations and the transfer possibilities of bringing in 2 centre-halves goes. We might just bring in 1 and Johnny Evans stays. You just never know. Lindelof could go. There's another player. It's not as though I'm talking out of school when I talk about Lindelof and talk about Maguire. Yeah. These are players what are earmarked and possible transfers, but it's all about bringing in. And at the end of the day, Vivell coming in, he will look at Lindelof and see if it's possible to put him on the market if we bring in players. You just don't know, but it's all good going forward. And so long as they're working on deals, and they're working on deals to get people out, I don't think at this stage of the summer you can argue about it. I really don't.
Yeah, Colin Rawlinson in the chat on the back of that Christopher Vivell news says, superb appointments. It looks very positive. The foundations are there now. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a winner. He won't accept second best. As Sir Matt Busby said, Manchester United should only have the very best.
Yeah, you've got to say it is positive going forward. And you say building on the foundations. Unfortunately, the foundations, right, what Sir Jim Ratcliffe inherited, right, it was quicksand, right? But at the end of the day, he's now building over that and it's concreting it and making it more steady. So going forward, it is positive.
Yeah, and Marcus Stevenson, welcome to our members clubs. Much appreciated, my mate.
Thank you.
Stephen Higgs says the football won't change that fast, Tony. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's mentioned like basically a 3-year plan in recent interviews where he expects Manchester United to be challenged again in that 3-year mark.
Yeah, that's in 3 years. And I do take his point. The football won't change. I'm not worried about the football not changing right now. I expect players to improve, okay? I expect finishing 8th not to happen again. I expect challenging for Champions League and hopefully going for a cup. No, the football won't change dramatically. We'll have some bad days, we'll have some good days, but it's a process. Okay, and I think in about 18 months we should get there. This summer transfer window, let's see how that goes, and then hopefully if it doesn't go as well as we all hope, we hope the following summer that's when the money should be spent. But that's the problem at the moment. It's all about money. But the footballing style, you expect that to change. You
want to see improvements based on last season, definitely. I'm not saying Man United should be challenging next year, well, the season coming up, but we need to see a drastic improvement in what we saw last season. And I know a lot of people will say, there was a lot of injuries that factor into that, and I totally admit that, but, just the actual style of football at times, it did leave you a little bit baffled with some of the decisions, so hopefully that does change.
Yeah, I don't think he was criticising saying it's not going to change.
No, I'm just saying from my own personal point of view.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at that. I don't expect it to change. And if it doesn't change, then there will be changes. Yeah. People will be moved out. Because if things don't change, and that's down to the coaches and everything else like that, we're not too sure if there's more coaches coming in, some coaches going out. I did mention 2 names yesterday, goalkeeping coaches. There's a possibility they might be removed. Another goalkeeping coach is brought in.
The good thing is, though, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the team at United, it looks like they're trying to give Ten Hag and the coaching staff every best possible, tool to succeed here at Manchester United in terms of putting people in the right places who can make these footballing decisions.
Well, now they've made the decision to keep Erik Ten Hag and have the decision and the continuing talks about a long-term contract for him. Now you've got to say everything. They've got to go all in for Erik Ten Hag. And not just for Erik Ten Hag, for their own well-being, to be honest with you. They've got to show us, you've done all the talking, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Ineos has done the talking. So let's see the moves. And the moves are there. The moves are there, and that's why I'm positive and sleeping well.
Yeah. I am positive looking towards this season, to be honest with you. The first time in a very long time, considering the changes that we are making, but also that will count on what sort of players we do get into the football club and what players we actually get out as well. But let's come back at the end of the season and let's have another chat about that and see how it's progressed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will turn around, bringing players in and that, right? But I think a lot more people will be positive when they see it on the pitch that the style has changed and that the players are actually doing what Erik Ten Hag wants and that the commitment's there. We know there's certain players inside United what haven't committed themselves 100%. And we also know that certain players have leaked stories to the press and that to undermine Erik Ten Hag. We don't want to see any more of that. That has to go. We also know that some of the players there just aren't good enough. And some players' form actually tailed off until the cup final. And when that cup final come, absolutely brilliant day. And we want to see more of that.
Marcus Stevenson from the Members Club says, I love that you're finally getting some good night's sleep, Tony.
I need it.
Yeah.
I actually need it. And I think everyone else out there, I've lost a lot of sleep over the last 12 months, listening to what's been going on, watching what's going on, rumours, stories, lies, blatant lies, people making things up. And also, when you look at it...
Not on this channel, though.
No, not on this channel. right? We don't make things up. We just
give our honest opinion.
That's what we do. We give our honest opinion.
Yeah.
But what it is, I've slept well because there's not a media onslaught. What we've seen all year, obviously because the Euros are on, right? But that media onslaught, right, was sending me over the hill, right over the hill, because it was abusive, it was direct at certain players, it was directed at the manager all the time, there was no let up, it was constant. And to be honest with you, it got to me where it was making me angry. And to be honest with you, I wanted to go out there and deal with one or two of these media people, but that's just me in my nightmare sleeps.
Invite them on the channel. I'd love to see you and one of these media people sat here doing a live video, and I'm sure a lot of you out there would love to see it as well. Let's get on to Matthijs de Ligt. Now,
Yes.
I've seen a report there from De Telegraaf over in Holland this morning saying that the Bayern Munich fans have started a petition to keep de Ligt.
Well, they know what he plays like. And as a football fan, you know with your own eyes. And they must look at him. And I did say, he's a young lad. And he's been brought into Bayern Munich. He's not been there long. And he's been brought in for the future. A good strategy by Bayern Munich. But now they seem to have changed with him. But the fans seem to be like, whoa, we like this kid. We like him. What's going on here? But the thing is, everything's changed around Bayern Munich, the way they conduct themselves, the way they operate behind the scenes and all that. So they might just be looking at it and say, right, let's just get a few quid in.
To be honest with
That's what they might be looking at, and then moving on. And they might know something different than what the fans do. But the fans, they're behind De Ligt. They fancy him. They see him play. So, you know, what better judges than the fans? And if they're all together behind De Ligt staying, then you've got to sort of hold your hands up and sort of say, well, why are they getting rid of him?
Yeah, to be honest with you, over the last 24 hours or so, Google Translate's been my best friend, and I've been having a look and a read of what Bayern Munich fans are saying, and a lot of them are saying the same thing, that it did have a strong second half of the season last season. I think it might have fell out of favour from what I can remember in the first half of the season, picked up some injuries, but a lot of Bayern Munich fans out there, seem to think he's a good player. So, let's wait to see if there is any more movement on that, whether Man United and Bayern Munich do agree a fee. I've seen a fee rumoured of €40 million. So, let us know what you think about that price as well, and if it's worth in your eyes, taking that gamble on Matthijs de Ligt, because I certainly do. I've got to be honest with you. But it's a player when you read our comments, it seems to just split everyone in our comments section, some for, some against, but,
Well, you might look at it this way, yeah. The Bayern Munich fans might see a good player. You might see a good player on the pitch in that. But you see, sometimes it's not all about what you see on the pitch. It's what goes on behind the scenes. He may, and I'm not saying he is, he may be a disruptive figure. He may upset one or two of the hierarchy inside Bayern Munich. It happens. So he might have fell out with a few people, right? And he's not been able to overcome this falling out. So at the end of the day, that could be an influence on one of the reasons why they move him. A good player doesn't sound right that the fans want to keep him because they believe he's a good player, but Bayern Munich hierarchy do. Yeah. Yes, I've said the hierarchy at Bayern Munich is in a little bit of turmoil at the moment. So you just don't know if it's something off-field, behind the scenes, what have been going on, what's building up. He just might be a person what gets up people's noses. You don't know.
He looks like he's fell out of favour as well with the Holland squad as well, the national team. I know he was definitely sat on the bench for the Austria game. Did he play tonight? Holland.
Yes.
As we speak now on Tuesday. Let's see if he starts then, but it's more than likely he'll be sat back on the bench. But, for me, do you think it's, when you're looking at Zirkzee, Braithwaite and De Ligt, do you think it's all like the kind of same profile, players who are showing good potential, especially for the future?
Well, you've got to look at it. It is the profile what we was told Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos were sort of pinpointing. Young lads, bringing people through the academy and everything else like that. But if they were going to buy people, they weren't going to go and look at this stage for the Galacticos. They were looking for young players to bring in. And these players all fit the bill. Unfortunately, at the moment, they've not been able to bring any of them in. Let's hope they do. Let's hope they just crack on, get the whip cracked and bring them in. But they all fit the bill going forward. And this might be part of Erik ten Hag's fitting the bill. it might be what he wants.
You've got to remember as well, with us getting the suits in now in place, you've got Jason Wilcox in there, Dan Ashworth, and maybe one or two others that we're not aware of who are actually involved with these decisions. This isn't going to be just Erik ten Hag's decision. Bring in the likes of Ligt, Zirkzee, maybe Bramthwaite in this summer. There's a few people who will have their name on it as well. It's not just Erik ten Hag.
No.
So this will be basically put to a vote kind of thing of, do we want Ligt? Shall we go all out to go and get him?
Yeah, it might be put to a vote, and it's not all Erik ten Hag's doing. Erik ten Hag has said he's working with Ineos, he's working with everyone there on the summer, but we've heard and we've seen stories out there that he's not going to be so 100% in charge of certain things, and quite right.
Yeah,
quite right. He needs to have quite a few things taken off him so he can concentrate on what he's there for. And what he's there for is to coach those players, get a style of football and get them playing proper football. And he's got the people behind him now, what he wants to go forward. So taking things off Erik ten Hag is the right thing. And the decision making can't all be down to Erik ten Hag and shouldn't be. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, I did see something from Fabrizio as well this morning that Joshua Zirkzee will 99.9% leave this summer, and that was from the Bologna director, Sartori.
Well, what you've got to...
Sorry to interrupt. I've seen other reports as well saying that Erik ten Hag has already spoken to Zirkzee as well in recent days about a move to Manchester United, but, take that with a pinch of salt if you wish.
Well, if you look at it, 99.9%, that worries me. Because he's not actually saying
99.9%.
Yeah, it worries me because he's not saying Man United. If you're 99.9% sure that he's leaving, you'd know why he was leaving and where he would go. So he's not continued the conversation of where he's going to go, which he should have done. Are United favourites? I don't think so. I don't think so. Based off that, because the man had more room to talk and fill everybody in instead of trying to tease you. Okay, there was no need for that. 99.9% sure he's leaving. Leaving for where? One of the biggest clubs in the world. You'd think you'd be right behind it, and you'd also think you'd be right onto United, saying, hey, how much are you paying for him? That's not coming out.
The thing is, though, as a football club, you want to alert other football clubs like, look, basically we're saying that this lad is available this summer. Come and join in the bids, and let's see if we can get like a bigger bid than his. Has he got a release clause? Is it €40 million? So basically, they only have to pay that, but they want to make sure he's off the books this summer for some reason.
Well, they just want the money, but the thing is, I'm not sure that he's coming to United. To me, it doesn't look that way based on that, because if you're saying if it's right, that they're trying to invite other people to talk and all that, Man United should be aware of that. And Man United should have put the bid in, because the talking should be over and the bid should be in. So that's a worry for me, and a worry, I think, for a few people out there. That bid should have been in by now, especially when you get the owner or the chairman coming out and talking like that this player will not be here 99.9%, right? That is a worry. Get your bid in, and it should have already been in. That's what I worry about.
Yeah,
and I thought I wasn't going to worry about anything.
No.
Right, but there you go. I'm finishing up worrying.
You'll get a good sleep, though, still tonight. I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today, getting involved in the chat. If you want to help support the channel, please smash that like button, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Manchester United video. So you enjoy the day, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.